Hi, This is Dr. Gale, and this is some comments on your assignment, and as well as your field experience. So, students get confused on this, and I personally think it's clear, but it was interesting for me the activity we had last week, where two students participated in it, and I think they would agree that words can be ambiguous depending on who's reading them and their interpretation. So anyhow, I want to go over this a little bit. First of all, what you're doing is you are creating a digital presentation. Ultimately, you're creating a digital presentation in this assignment. And I have the topic overview right here. And when you click on here, you're taken to the exact same wording, except for it's organized differently with highlights in here. And then I talk about here, it's a digital presentation. So I say, why not use the digital tool you used on your last assignment? Or check out this page for digital tools. And so there's a whole list of them. And I don't know whether SMORE is on here. That's what I use for my topic overviews. But no, there's not. But anyhow, they've got some good sources in here. I do hope you go beyond SlideShare and do something creative. Prezi tends to be a pain in the neck. I never use Prezi for a presentation because it can be confusing for the audience to watch the whirling or twirling going on. But anyhow, you could use what I use, as I said, for my topic overview, which I think comes out really nicely. And so there's that. And then I have APA for the digital presentation. So it says APA format is not required, but to use best practices or whatever it is for completing your assignment. And what that means is that if you're quoting or you're using information from somewhere else, you need to cite it. And that's an APA requirement. Another APA requirement is citing graphic images. And that is in the APA manual. And you have to consider if you've created the images, you can practice what I do. Well, I didn't create any images here. Let me see if I created any. Well, I did. I created this. So I did a Word document and I created it. Well, I don't really cite myself on that. I could though, because it's clear to me what it is. And it should be clear to anyone else that the reference page is, created, and it's not an image from somewhere else because it is related to this. But there are times that I do cite myself when I create an image. I didn't create these images; I use them off the internet, but I cited them, and each of them are on here. And so this serves as a model for you. This is how you cite things. You would have to cite videos that you used. I created this myself, so I don't cite it. So anyhow, I would read this definitely. Now, I also have, you are required to include your reference page in your presentation. So you either do it by adding it to your digital format, and I have some comments in here. Likely your presentation will not allow hanging indentation, but you can space inwards in some cases, and you can also double space the lines and italicize. So I'm not looking for something that I know you could have been modified in some way, and you will lose points for it. Now, I also have in here adding speaker notes to your presentation below. And this is a video that I created from another university, but it still applies to how you would digitize a Word document. And so you would do something like I did. You would create a Word document, and you could just get a link for it following those directions, or you could take a screenshot of it and stick it in as an image. however way you want it. But it should be not separate from your presentation, because when you submit your presentation, you don't necessarily pass out a reference page to everyone. You need to have it on the presentation. So those are a couple of things there about the digital piece. Now, I want to go back here because this, as I said, this tends to be a little confusing. Students tend to think that because they're researching this information, that they need to write something down somewhere. Well, you do, but you're not submitting it. This is only asking you to research and select one national, state, or local policy that has a direct effect on your school district. And you identify these areas. So what I would do, you're not giving me anything in this. What I would do is take a piece of paper, do your research, do it wherever you do your notes, take notes on the 3 items. And then, based on this research, evaluate, design, that's create, and facilitate, that means you're going to be the presenter, a differentiated professional development program that presents the effect of this policy on your school district either positively or negatively. So let's back up a little bit. Now, well, we won't back up yet. Then they ask you to develop a lesson plan for the professional development session. Now, there's some wording in here that could have been included to help you understand this whole thing a little bit better. But I've developed courses for Grand Canyon University, and I understand, I'm a content expert. So content experts do the best they can by wording these things as clearly as they possible, but someone else comes in and edits what we do and they change things. I didn't create this course. But let me take you this. So you develop a lesson plan for the professional development session. You notice that these words are different than this. And that's because of what I'm going to tell you. You're in your program of study, whatever that is. And in your program of study, you have a lot of courses that you take. And the program is the overall package, and your courses make up the program. That's the same thing that's going on here. You are you're providing this, and in the process, you're doing this, and you're doing it in the sense of a program that is going to be developed through these various lesson plans. But you're only going to create one lesson plan, and the lesson plan the name is only being used because they want you to plot out what you would say and do in a professional development workshop. So you're creating this program that lays the foundation for this, and you are going to be creating a lesson plan that you might use within this program to help facilitate an understanding of professional development. It's a professional development program. And whatever you feel is important when you do this research, you can this evaluate piece here. You do the research and you evaluate what needs to be done in your school district or your school that needs to make sure that you're following this and you're following that. So there's a lot going on. And what I would recommend is you start this immediately. Don't wait, because you also have a field experience and you have to do the presentation. So you want to make sure you get all your people that you need for your presentation. You want to do that early. Maybe contact them on Friday. Maybe even contact them on Thursday. I mean, these topic overviews should be reviewed on Thursday, so you're all set for the course or the week. But you need to do it sooner rather than later. because you do need to plan for people to be at your presentation, and there's criteria for that. So you want to, you want to be paying attention to what's going on here, but you also want to pay attention to the rubric. And I'm going to talk about the rubric in a minute. So you develop a digital presentation. This is not a PowerPoint. 12 to 15 slides. That means 12 to 15 slides for everything here. Everything here, and there. That does not include the title page. It does not include the reference pages, and it does not include the speaker notes. It involves the content. And that's true in any assignment. When they talk about word count, they're not talking about the title page or the reference page. They're talking about the content. So you're going to do that. And you're going to add this to your presentation, which is about this and the IRIS standard, but you're also going to include the lesson plan that you would have that would be maybe one of your workshops that you felt was needed in relation to, your school, related to all of this. So I have in the topic overview how you're going to create your lesson plan, and you're also going to have speaker notes, and your speaker notes are not going to be on your title page. And I'm going to show you in a minute what you're going to do for that. So you do all of this, and then in addition, create a title slide, reference slides, and slide notes, and provide detailed explanation of your examples. So these are here, but then you're going to give examples and everything, but you're going to comment on this in more detail. The idea is that you're not putting your entire presentation and everything that you did in your digital presentation. No one likes that. That's like reading off the slide, and no one likes that. So, and it talks about this, and I've already talked about that earlier in this particular assignment. Now you're going to also create a feedback form. And you're going to build the form in a manner that allows you to prepare a summary of the reflection you receive from your participants. That's in your field experience. Now, you want to make sure that there's a lot of clarification. You want to make sure you get all the information from your participants that you need to be successful in your reflection. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Include an agenda for the participants containing research and resources for them to refer to after the presentation. So the agenda is something you give to them beforehand. So you would write out the agenda. And you would include that on your presentation. And you're going to include it with a link. You're going to include your reference page as a link, and you're going to create your lesson plan the same way. Everything's going to be on the presentation, because when you're using your presentation, you can click on the lesson plan as an example and show them what it would be. So there's that piece there, and I'm going to, I want to talk about, I want to take you to the, here it is here. So this tells you how to add speaker notes. Okay. Now, I also want to take you to the rubric. Okay, so it's important that you use the rubric. This is an assignment that if I were doing it, I would be reading the assignment directions first and making notes and making sure I understand them. Probably would then look at the video and make sure that I had done what the video recommended. Then I would go to the rubric and I would look at target and I would make sure I understood what I needed to do to get target. And I might take some notes on it. And if you have any questions, if I had any questions, I'd be asking the instructor about it. So it says, this presentation is written in a clear and concise manner with observations connecting the influence of the policy progress, so that is whether it's working or not, improvements to policy are recommended, and the current status of the policy is included. The presentation includes motivating and current information. Current information means that you are getting direct citations from people in your school, or you're supporting your responses with current resources that would be within 10 years. I think that's straight across the board for any academic paper. Provides the audience with a clear sense of the status and effect of the policy. You want to make sure that when you create your assignment, you are doing all of these. And you might take them out and bullet them and highlight certain things, because that's how your assignment is being assessed. Now in here, it says presentation is written with a logical progression of ideas. That means that you're following the sequence in the assignment directions. Bing, 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 bing. And showing unity and coherence of the influence of the policy progress. So here it's a little bit different than here. It doesn't say, it's not necessarily clear and concise manner. It's just a logical progression. But the information may not be necessarily clear. In here, post-presentation form. So this is everything that you do. You're only being assessed for everything in here. But all those little pieces make up this. So this is your presentation form to be used as feedback, is included in the digital presentation. Now, you could have the feedback actually in the presentation, like the words, but it's not part of the 10 to 15 words, slides, or whatever, pieces, views. If you're using SMORE, let me show you what that would look like. This would be a slide. This thing would be a slide. This would be a slide. This would be a slide. Sections they're talking about. So then, oops, sorry. Okay. So you want to make sure you understand that. And then it has significant development and provides relevant and substantial feedback for later analysis. In order to do that, you need to go to your field experience and you need to see what it is they need to respond to and what you need to write about in your reflection. That's the information you want to include in your feedback form so you can get it. In other words, if you just put the requirements for the feedback form in there, that's not going to earn acceptable or target. So in here, content is written clearly and concisely. Ideas universally progress and relate to each other. So nothing's disjointed. It all flows nicely. It says the project includes motivating questions and advanced organizers. Now, I don't see anywhere in the assignment directions that state that. However, if it's in the rubric, you need to make sure you got it in the rubric. The project gives the audience a clear sense of the main idea, differentiation of it. So I need to know when you're differentiating. I mean, I know when differentiation exists, but you may see differentiation as one thing and I may not, and so you want to make it clear. So, writers clearly in control of academic language. I still see students in this course using contractions and kids, and you're losing points for that. That's not academic language. Title slide is complete. Reference section includes correctly cited sources. Correct citations included within the body of the paper. So that's what that is all about. So now I'm going to take you, I'm sorry this is so long, but the benchmark is, needs attention too. So I'm going to stop this video and I'm going to create one that is related to the field experience.